Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. This morning I want to talk to you about how all things are possible. Everything. Whatever you can conceive in your mind, whatever you can think, whatever you desire or want, it is possible, and God gives us permission to tap into that possibility. So I want to encourage you this morning. I was reading a familiar passage in Hebrews 11:1. So let's dive in real quick. Hebrews 11:1 says, faith is a substance. The scripture here says that faith is a substance. Okay? So really what the word is telling us is that faith is a quantum material. It is actually a material. It's unseen, but it is a substance. Okay, like milk or coffee or gel. It's a substance. It is a reality. It actually exists, and it has no choice. Faith has no choice but to manifest or be birthed into the physical realm if it is nurtured properly. So what's interesting and even a little scary sometimes is that faith is sort of a neutral thing. It can be used for, great things, and it can be used for negative things. In fact, fear is really faith. Okay, check this out. Fear is faith for what you don't want to happen. Okay? So if you're constantly dwelling on the things that you don't want to happen, you're actually giving birth, you're creating substance for that which you don't want to happen. That's why it's so important to control our thoughts. That's why, the scripture warns us, it says, take every thought captive and make it obedient unto Christ. And in other words, put it under His law, put it under His word, the things that are good and helpful and wholesome, the things that are lovely and pure and righteous and just, those things. Make your thoughts, bring those thoughts under the law of Christ, under the good and wonderful things that God has for us. Don't give birth through faith to the things that you don't want to happen. Because remember, faith is a material. It's a quantum material. And so whatever you incubate in your mind, that's what's eventually going to manifest in your life. Okay, so we established that faith is a substance. All right, so what happens basically is our mind's eye and our heart's desire basically come together, like a man and a woman come together, and they conceive this thing called faith or substance. They conceive a material substance, and that material substance basically goes into the womb of our mind, the womb of thought. And if we forget about it or discard it from our memory or our thought life, then it basically is aborted in a sense. Now that's not bad, because obviously we can't think and dwell upon every thought that comes into our mind. But when all things are possible, that thing that we really want in life, if we begin to dwell on it and nurture it in the womb of our mind, eventually that thought is going to form. That substance is going to grow and mature just like a fetus, just like a baby inside its mother's womb. It's going to grow, and eventually, if it's nurtured, if it's cared for, and if you continue to dwell upon it and focus on it and imagine what that baby's life is going to be like, what you're going to name it, what it's going to look like, what it's going to be like to hold it. If you nurture that thought, that faith substance in your mind and in your heart, it will eventually grow. Once it's grown and reached maturity, it will be birthed out into the physical plane, into the natural realm, into the earthly space. So if you look in the scripture, it's so important how we think and what words we use, because they have real consequences. And Christ came to show us the way and how to channel our thoughts, channel our desires, our emotions, and put into practice and basically be creators of our own world. So we've established that faith is actually a substance, but the second part of that scripture in Hebrews 11:1 says that faith is a knowing. It's a conviction that the thing in your mind and your heart actually exists. Yes, before it's physically manifested in the earthly dimension. It's interesting that Jesus said, "Let it be done to you according to your faith." So according to the substance that you nurture through your mind and the desire of your heart, it shall be done to you. Now, if you cast your thoughts off and you don't take them seriously, the things that you desire are passing wishes and hopes and things that are not for me, or maybe one day, then your thoughts are neglected, just like a woman who doesn't properly care for her child in her womb. So we have to nurture and care for the things that we desire, that we want to happen in our lives, just like a mother would, so that the baby can come to full term and we can deliver it, we can manifest that into our world. So back to what Jesus said. He said, "Let it be done according to your faith," according to that substance, that knowing within you, that thing that you're supposed to be nurturing. And what's interesting is that he puts the onus or the responsibility of our lives on us. He does this because he's calling out to us. He's giving us permission to be the creators we're called to be. Okay? He didn't come to do everything for us. He came to show us the way. Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." Okay? So we're to follow his way. We are to be imitators of him. And what was he? He was a creator. The scripture says that everything is sustained by the power of his word. Okay? So we were made in his image and likeness. And in us, he put that ability, that same ability to create our own worlds. And we do this by two ways. We do this through our thoughts and incubating those thoughts, creating that substance, letting that substance develop until it comes to full term and it's ready to manifest itself in the world. And he spoke. So he thought. And then when he had that dream in his heart of the world and of you and of me, and he had that in his thought, then what did he do? He spoke. The power of his word spoke things into existence. And so we're to emulate our Father in being creators in our own world. We're like little microcosms of God. He wants people in the earth to create and to bring forth new ideas and new dreams just like he did. The universe is ever expanding, and so he loves just the cornucopia of different thoughts and ideas and creations that human beings that he created bring into existence through their thoughts and through their words and actions. So my question is to us and to myself too, because I'm still on this journey, is when are we going to start taking responsibility for the lives that we're living? When are we going to realize that the life today that we're currently living is a result of the thoughts and the words and the actions that we've taken in the past? We are a result. I love this thing that I learned last year. It's called extreme ownership, taking extreme ownership of our lives. And what that basically means is even though every single thing in your life may not have been a direct cause of a choice that you made, but when we embrace the fact that we own our lives and that a good portion of our lives is a result of the thoughts that we've had about ourselves and others, and as a result about the words that we've spoken over ourselves and others in our situation. It's also a result of the faith or lack thereof that we've had in our lives. What substance are we creating today that's going to manifest itself 6 months from now? That can be kind of a scary thought. Are we constantly thinking, oh, I don't have enough money, or I'm going to run out of money? Well, guess what? We're going to manifest those thoughts eventually if we continue to focus on those things. But likewise, or conversely, when we hold a thought and we believe that all things truly are possible, and we begin to nurture that substance and allow it to come forth and grow, then guess what? In a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months down the road, we're going to be giving birth to a full-term baby, the full-term creation of our thoughts and our words. So just so you'll have a kind of a visual, it's kind of a crappy drawing, but you have your mind's image, that's your brain, plus your heart's desire, and when those two things come together, sort of like, like I said earlier, like a man and a woman, when they come together, the sperm and the egg create a zygote. It creates a living being. It's conceived. So your desire in your heart and your mind's image, that's where we get the word imagination. When those two things unite, they actually conceive a substance called faith. And as we continue to hold that faith, that substance of things that we hope for, things that are unseen, as we continue to hold that and nurture that in our mind's image and in our heart as a desire, then that faith begins to build. We begin to create new neural pathways in our brain. We begin to transform our minds or renew our minds into that thing which we want and we desire. And that thing, in cooperation with God, as long as those things are in accordance with His will. What are those things in accordance with His will? Whatever is lovely, whatever is pure, whatever is godly, whatever is righteous, whatever is just, those good things, are going to manifest and get bigger and bigger until they have no choice but to be birthed or manifested in our lives. So with all those things said, the thoughts that we hold in our minds and our hearts today, we're going to see those things come forth in our lives, weeks and months from now. So I want to encourage you to take an inventory of your thought life right now. Notice the words that you're speaking about yourself, about your future. What are the things that you're dwelling on? Are you dwelling on fearful things? Are you dwelling on lack, that you don't have enough? Are you dwelling on the stressful situations at work, the people in your life that are just bringing you down? What are you thinking about from day to day? What are the thoughts that you wake up with? What are the thoughts that you go to sleep with? And I want to encourage you to begin forging new paths, new neuro pathways in your brain. Transform, that's what the word means when it says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Okay, so we've got these thought patterns that continue to form, and if those thought patterns are negative, then guess what? You're going to create that substance, that fate for that which you don't want to happen. So I want to encourage you again, begin forming new thought patterns. Remember, all things are possible with God. All things. Okay? And so whatever is in accordance with His will, whatever is lovely, whatever is pure, like I said before, whatever is righteous, just. You know what? It's right. It's rightness to be able to provide for your family. It's lovely to be able to enjoy God's creation and give and experience the beautiful things that life has to offer. New thought paths, new mental pictures of what you want out of this life in accordance to God's will. And don't be so hard on yourself when you think, oh, well, what is God's will? Okay? If it's good, if it's decent, it's God's will. He wants good things for you. He's come that we might have life and life abundantly. What does a life abundant look like to you? More than we can even ask or imagine. So start somewhere and keep those thoughts incubated in your mind and in your heart, and you're going to see them come forth. Thanks.